I'd like to really thank the fans for coming out. I know the weather wasn't ideal, but we appreciate those guys coming out and showing their support. I know it wasn't pretty early, but guys managed to get it done and did a good job doing that. I thought Jerron did a good job of crashing the glass on both ends of the floor. 15 rebounds is very impressive. He was active, he was aggressive, he was attacking. 14 assists wasn't bad on 21 made baskets. Jordan did a solid job defending. Perimeter guys, I thought they did a really good job stepping up in the second half and defending. The effort was pretty good. Wasn't great. I think I graded our guys on probably a C+ on the defensive side of the ball. Didn't jump to the ball as well as we like. 5 guys didn't box out consistently. But I thought overall our guys, for that first game, it was a good effort. Well, you know, the first half, you know, as a staff, either you come out and make a lot of shots, you probably somewhat sluggish. I think the thing that caught our guys off guard was the zone the whole game. Because you practice, even though we practice the zone, we put it in. We don't practice at the level because we don't play a zone. So to see a zone the whole game was an adjustment for our guys in itself. But after the game and at the half, as a staff, we felt like it was the best thing. I wouldn't have said it at the beginning of the game, but I thought it was the best thing for our team to go through. Because, you know, when you go against a zone, you have to find your spots. You have to look for shots. You can't run as many plays. We don't run a lot of plays against the zone. It's more or less passing and cutting through and reading the defense, posting strong, dribble penetration. I thought we did a good job of that in the second half. But I think it caught our guys a little bit off guard with the zone the whole night. I would imagine that's what they do. We based on film we watched last year, they didn't run a lot of zone the last 2 games we got from last season. But they ran some zone, but not a lot, which is fine. But like I said, I thought it was good for our guys to actually go through it. I thought he did a good job. You know, one thing I don't do a lot of until I get home and I look at the stats as far as the numbers. The first thing I look at is a field goal percentage defense, 3-point percentage defense, those numbers, how we rebound. But normally, you know, when I get home at night, I kind of look at the offensive side, who shot the ball well, bad shots. Because my gauge is as long as you take shots we practice, I'm fine with that. So I haven't really looked at the stats from the standpoint of where the shots were distributed. I was more or less looking on the defensive side of the ball. Oh, not at all. Not at all. It doesn't discourage me one bit. I think we probably shot a couple quick shots. I didn't think we posted up like we needed to, but not at all. I mean, the first game, guys excited to play. You're trying to play a lot of guys. Guys shoot some quick shots. Not at all. Not at all. Got to work on it. We spend time, you know, once again, me being a former player, there's not a lot I talk about. We work on in practice. If a guy's technique is not good, we'll work on his technique. But I don't want guys thinking about it, because the more you talk about it, now they think about it. So I don't even talk about it. Just as long as they practice the shots, I'm fine with it. Eventually they'll fall. I really don't put a percentage by, because I mean, it goes according to plan. You got shots, wide open shots, shoot the ball. They were wide open shots. I thought we shot them too quick in the first half, especially the first 5 minutes. We didn't move the ball. We didn't cut. We were more or less standing a lot. And we have a zone, a stationary zone, where guys are stationary in the area, but it wasn't any dribble penetration. We were settling for shots, and they were open. So you got to take shots when you're open. Well, don't get me wrong. I want guys to make shots, but what happens is if we're defending at the level we need to defend at, and the shots aren't falling, then we're still in the ball game. But if we're not defending and shots aren't falling, it's going to be a long night for us. But once again, as a player and as a coach, you can't sit there and tell shooters that's a bad shot. You shot the ball too quick. And in a subtle way, I might have one of my assistant coaches let a guy know, pass up on that shot. I said, but as when a head coach says it, then he remembers it. Now he's thinking about it. The last thing you want a guy is to score and a shooter start thinking about shots. You're in trouble. I think we did a better job defending. I think, you know, it's always tough to play teams like that. Well-coached team, they play in a zone, but they got smaller guys. They dribble penetration, because really they're 4s and 5s or wings at this level. 6'5" guys, but they can shoot on the perimeter. And it's tough for our big guys, so now it's hard to play Newman, Dwight, and Kenny, those guys, the minutes you like to play them because of the dribble penetration. And it's not good for those guys, but you have to give them minutes, but it's tough for those guys in situations like that. But I just thought we kind of buckled down a little bit on the defensive side and start carrying out those assignments. No, you got to work. I mean, you'll see a lot of different defenses in game situations. You have to make the necessary adjustments. We had him posting up, and I think that's the adjustment we made as a staff. We posted our big guys up the whole second half to occupy those guys, so now we're able to move the ball. And if he's in open in the post, give him the ball. Well, I think the lesson is not to foul, and those are things we talk about: being on your line, being up your line, being aggressive. Now, if you get a foul, then it means you've earned the foul. And I can't remember one foul that he actually earned tonight. So if you get one, then earn it. I'm fine with it if you earn it. And I think that's the biggest key: moving your feet, moving without the ball. And it's like we always talk about ball, you man, and understanding your principles. Well, Jerron's just a tough basketball player. He's a physical presence. He's pretty good off the dribble. He can find guys. Sometimes he's a little too unselfish on the offensive side, but he can make a lot of things happen because he can use his dribble. He's physical around the basket, but he's more of a passer first than a scorer. But he's a tough guy. I would imagine he's one of the toughest guys in this league, and I haven't seen everybody in this league, but I'd be hard-pressed to find a lot of guys that are tougher. We work on a lot of things. We work on finishing around the basket, making layups, but it just, once again, just putting the ball in the basket. Twin didn't play tonight. What happens, he got in the rotation, all of a sudden 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I didn't want to put him out there, and he wasn't in the floor of the game because I didn't feel like it'd be right for him to do that. We'll see. We'll see. I was just ready to go. I was excited about the opportunity to actually get out on the floor. Because what happens, you beat up on each other all day in practice. And now all the things we talk about as a coaching staff, now we can look at this stat sheet and say, this is why we do what we do. This is why we work on these. This is what we got to get better at. But I was also anxious to see our guys play, really. I mean, just because there's so many unknowns with our guys. But I thought they did a good job of stepping to the plate. Because that first game is always tough, especially with somewhat of a local team, guys that know each other, you know. Those guys were hungry to win that game, so it was good for our guys. I think it probably would have been a little bit better if they were in a man, because now you can run your sets. I mean, stuff you practice, 80% of the time. Now we go against the zone in practice, but it's not at the level because it's not. We don't do that, and now you can flow somewhat. But I thought I would imagine it'd have been a little bit different if they were in a man. Well, the great thing for us, and we talk about at the end of the game as a staff, because we didn't run a lot of set plays. And we don't run a lot of set plays anyway, but now you have to execute and move the ball, pass and cut. Because when you go against the zone, you have to find angles to cut too. It's not just a simple cut. You got to be able to read the defense, misdirection dribbles, pass fakes. Bigs got to post up. So it was good for our guys to play without set plays. And we try not to consume our guys with a lot of set plays early anyway. You got to be able to execute, cut, and move. And that's not an easy thing to do. Just play hard. I mean, that's my whole gauge. Like I tell our guys, once we come game time, it's a performance. We're on the stage, and those guys, have some fun with it. And guys are uptight. But I mean, as a coach, I always have butterflies. Just from a preparation standpoint, I was the same way as a player. Not really worried or afraid of the competition. Just you want to be clicking on all cylinders, and you never feel like you're always prepared or the level you need to be prepared as a coach, because there's always something can pop up. So. For me as a coach, that'll never change regardless of the opponent. But I mean, our guys are excited for us. I was excited to see those guys out there and play. Well, the one thing we talk about with the way we defend, with pressure on the ball, eventually they'll start giving us the ball. But you have to be solid with your pressure on defense, get in the passing lanes, and every time they catch the ball, there's a hand in the face. And eventually, not many teams can practice and compete at that level. Last 5-10 minutes of the game, we'll get what we want. Eventually, they got to start making plays off the dribble. Not many teams in the country have 5 guys that can make plays off the dribble consistently, and that's where you get them. I mean, you can take a lot from the game from a zone standpoint. Defensively, there was a lot of mistakes on the defensive side of the ball. Just minor things: weak side defense, help defense, rotations on defense. Our jammer, safety, and jammer is the guy that pressures the ball. The safety is the guy that's always back. We didn't do that consistently at the level we need to. But the two things I talked about going into this game, and I wrote on our board, and our transition defense has to get better, and our box and five-man box out has to get better. Yeah. Thank you.